Do you ever find yourself procrastinating really important activities and tasks and you're like, what am I doing? Why can I not get this done? Well, you're in good company. There are a lot of really smart, capable, very talented entrepreneurs that find themselves in this procrastination stage. So today is a very special edition of the Small Business Optimizer podcast. And I am going to start highlighting some tips to help you optimize your business, just me and you. So today we're going to cover procrastination. If we haven't met yet, I'm Melanie Benson Strick. I'm America's leading small business optimizer. And this podcast I host every week. And I'm going to either interview somebody who's really made a huge success optimizing their business and learning how to do some things really well that have made significant impact in their bottom line, their profits, and their impact in the world. And then once in a while, I'll pop in and just do some one-on-one with you and really help you learn how to take an idea and put it into action, something that's going to make a big difference in your profits by optimizing your business. So I want to talk about procrastination today. And last week, I was meeting with some clients throughout the week, and it just seemed like there was a theme that people were putting off the very activities that they knew were going to help them get the right results done. And it was almost like there was this little button in their head that just was on pause, and they couldn't get off pause. And I've just seen procrastination take a lot of different forms over the years. Some people, they just tend to like to wait till the last minute. And even though they know there's a deadline coming and it's really important, they just think they perform better right against the wire. And I don't know about you, but there's so much stress involved in that. What I find is that's really the adrenaline junkie, somebody who needs the adrenaline to push past the momentum loss that they have. Maybe they're just not that into the tasks and activities, or they're not really good at planning themselves and organizing their time. Whatever it is, that last minute energy that they get that boost from is not something that's very sustainable over time, is it? And that leads me to a second reason why I see people procrastinating, and that's they're just unorganized. And it's actually kind of a different form of procrastination. It's not taking the time to do the things that would actually allow you to use your time wisely. So you procrastinate really getting yourself organized and systemized so that you can perform better in the moment. Another way I see entrepreneurs procrastinating, they just don't plan. I don't know what it is, if they find that it's just a task that they're not good at, or they don't understand how. Maybe they don't really know what to do. Maybe they don't feel that planning is an important and valuable part of business, which it is. But when you're not planning, you're actually setting yourself up to have a whole bunch of last minute things happen. And that puts you in a panic and stresses you out. So you procrastinate planning, and you're not going to use your resources very well if you're not planning out what you need to do when. And I think another way that people procrastinate is they don't get the resources and support they need early enough to make a difference. So they put it off, and they think, oh, I can do it myself, or I can figure it out. And then at the last minute, they're like, I can't get it done, and I need to get it done. So then they're running around trying to get somebody to help them. I'll tell you, having coached both entrepreneurs and their team members, contractors, virtual assistants, and all kinds of service professionals, I can tell you there's one common thing. Nobody likes to be pushed and cajoled and rushed to get a high-class job done for the entrepreneur at the last minute just because you didn't plan. There's that old saying, just because you didn't plan doesn't mean it's my urgency that I have to fix. Well, a lot of people will try to jump in and help you, but you're always going to have the quality suffer. So there's a lot of cost to procrastination, but the one that I think is the biggest cost is that you very rarely get the results that you need or want. When you procrastinate and put everything at the last minute, you don't have time to test. You don't have time to really figure out, is this going to work? You're rushing, trying to cram everything in at the last minute. I had a client one time who, she did a lot of events, and she's really, really smart, very talented. She was brilliant at what she did. But she always procrastinated getting her event marketing kicked off early enough, so she was running around at the last minute trying to fill her room. So she was always getting a third to a half of the people that she could have been getting. So it's a lot of work for a little payday that way. So you can see that there's a lot of costs involved in procrastination. I don't have to tell you. When you know you're procrastinating and you're not getting the right things done and your results are suffering, it doesn't feel good. And I think it undermines your confidence. And you start to build up a pattern that procrastination is an okay way to go. And you're like, well, I can squeak by and I get an okay result. And then you've bought into mediocrity, which isn't good for anybody. So I want to dig underneath why procrastination is happening and give you a little insight how to bust through it. First of all, there's an old saying that if you're procrastinating, that fear is cropping up. Well, that might be true, but I actually find that fear is probably one of the least reasons. What I see actually is happening is that you have a limiting belief that's surfacing. It could be a limiting belief that's manifesting as a fear, but on some level you think to yourself, I can't do this anyway, I'm not very good at this, this is never going to work, so it manifests as fear, but what's underneath it is actually a limiting belief that you can't get the result you want. So why bother, or why try to put too much effort into it? And somehow you kind of trick yourself into thinking like, if I don't really try too hard, I won't really fail. Well, that is you setting yourself up to play small. And I don't really think that's the way you want to play this game called success, do you? So procrastination is just a really tricky way that you're self-sabotaging. And I want you to really pay attention to where you may be playing that out, because if that's true, there's some resources that can support you in really looking at what is that belief that's running underneath the fear, and what's driving this behavior pattern. Because you don't have to do it this way. This is just a strategy that you've bought into and that you've perfected over time. Another really common reason, and this is actually has a lot of validity to it, is that you don't know how. You don't know what to do. You don't really know what it is that your steps and all the pieces and parts. So you don't really have a plan, and you're not masterful at getting it done. So what happens in that case is you just kind of spin and you put things off, and you check your emails a million times, you go back and forth with Facebook. Well, the solution, if you don't know how, is to get help. Have somebody sit down and help map out the plan. If you're using team members, sit down and brainstorm with them. A lot of my clients use me as their coach that way. I'll take what is the goal and I'll reverse engineer what steps, and I'll map out their strategic plan, and then you just go put it into some kind of a planning tool. That's what gets you out of procrastination and into results. Now, there's a couple more layers here, because I've noticed that sometimes I'll do that with a client and they still procrastinate. And maybe you've had that experience where you know what to do, but you still aren't doing it. Well, once we clear out the fear and just not knowing what to do, there's also the not enough information. Sometimes we procrastinate because we literally just don't know all the facts. And so there's a part of us that's holding back because we are afraid that something bad will happen, or something that will crop up that we don't want to deal with, or the unknown is too scary to get into the action. So what I would highly recommend in those cases is put the pause button on and then go do your research. Maybe you need to find out what things cost. Maybe you need to know what kind of resources are available. Maybe you need to get better understanding of what it's going to be like when you live in the outcome of this goal. That's a huge one for a lot of people. So not knowing and not having enough information are really big stoppers. You might as well just be putting the big pause button on your goals and plans. Now, let's say you have all the information, you know what to do, and we've got this fear resolved, and you've got the belief issue resolved. What else is going on? Sometimes there's something called internal conflicts. I teach a course called Money DNA Mastery, and it's really a lot more than mastering your money relationships. It's about mastering your mind. And in all levels of success, in all levels of humanness, we have to master what's going on up here. And one of those is understanding when a part of us is driving towards a priority or a goal, and there's a piece of us that says, ooh, that means I'm going to have to give something up. And so we get into this internal war between the thing we think we want and the fear of what we think we're going to have to give up. So it's kind of a tricky fear. And those internal conflicts act like huge barriers to your ability to get more done. So one of the things that you have to look at is, am I on some level in conflict? Is there something that I think I want that feels like I'm going to have to give something else up to get there? And if that is you, we need to clear that out, because actually there is alignment somewhere. It's just that with your way of looking at the situation from your point of view, you're blocked. So there's some processes in Money DNA Mastery to help you pop that and to shift that. But just knowing that may be enough to help you really find the and instead of the or. Now, all these other things being handled, there may be one more layer, and that is you might feel deep down inside out of alignment. And it partially could be conflict, it could be fear, it could be limiting beliefs, but sometimes it's just there's a part of you that's really wise that knows it's being pushed and shoved towards something that it doesn't really feel is good for all of you, all the priorities and goals and dreams that you have. So let's say you've got the how handled, you know what to do, you've got the information you need, you know that you've got some limiting beliefs, but you've cleared them out, but you're still procrastinating. What's the last piece that could be going on? You know, in my experience, sometimes there's a part of us that's really smart and it protects us. And it's important to start understanding the difference between our unreasonable fears and this intuitive part that knows we are not on the right track. And that's when we're out of alignment. You know, the thing we're pursuing or we're pushing towards or trying to force results around just isn't in our best interest. And we may be procrastinating because it just doesn't feel aligned. Now, part of that could be our limiting beliefs, and we're running everything through this filter saying, that's not the right thing for me, or I don't know how, and so it could be limiting beliefs. But sometimes it's just not the right alignment for where you are in your journey right now. So those are some insights into procrastination. So what do? If you're facing these things and you're ready to clear them out so you can get into massive action? Well, I highly recommend that you use the Money DNA process. You can check out the free training on the link here on the screen and really use the process to clear out those beliefs and fears and conflicts that are holding you back. But another thing that you can do is you can simply just become aware and challenge yourself to do the opposite. You know, you can think of it like a fun game. Okay, my pattern is to do this and I don't get results this way, so I'm going to do the opposite, the thing that would actually get me results. And if working with a coach or going to training right now isn't right for you, and you don't have the accountability you need to really get these things handled, then by all means, try self-coaching with this tip of what would I do if I did the opposite. So that's my tip for today. And this is one of the things that can really not only optimize your mindset, but optimize your time management so you can get more of the right things done quickly. Hope you've enjoyed, and as always, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments in the blog or here on iTunes if you're following along on our podcast at melaniebensonstrick.com/podcast. I'll look forward to seeing you again next week with another really awesome interview. Bye for now.